Good morning, everyone. When I think of what has made me the person who I am today, I always revert back to my 4 years at school in France. It was such a special and unique time for me. I have so many stories ingrained in my memory, and I'm convinced that the experiences I had helped shape the person who I am today. The first thing I learned was the value of empathy. Empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. How does this relate to France? Well, I guess you could say I feel real empathy for the international students at Appleby, and I would like to share with you my experiences abroad. I know what you are going or went through, and I sincerely hope you will leave here with a positive outlook of your time in Canada. Let me start at the beginning. Monday, January 3rd, 2006. I was 7 years old, halfway through grade 2. There, my grade was called C1. My French immersion skills in Canada was now being tested in the francophone environment of Fontainebleau, France, which is just outside of Paris. My elementary school was one giant stone building with a blacktop courtyard and trees that were outlined with rocks. There was a yellow line between the collège and primaire area, and we were never ever allowed to cross it. The school was enclosed with gates all around. The green gate to enter the school was locked as soon as the bell rang at the beginning of the day. To be honest, it kind of felt like being locked in prison. My nerves were a bit frazzled, kind of like how I'm feeling right now talking in front of all of you. In my first hour at school, I'm walking up the white stairs in my new boots. I accidentally stepped on this kid's heel, and he turned around and barked at me. I can't use his words here, but when I asked my neighbor what does such and such mean, she looked at me quite shocked and surprised that I was picking up on the slang and swear words so quickly. I guess I was too busy looking around trying to find my way that I walked right into him. So Appleby students, remember the newbies on day one. Try to be empathetic and help them find their way. No need to enrich their vocabulary with colorful language in the first hour. First lunch. Since it was the first day, my parents decided to pick up my sister Diana and I. My other sister Andrea was on the other side of the line. As soon as we got into our car, we immediately bawled our eyes out because we felt so lost with the language. They took us to Centre-Ville de Fontainebleau, and we had jambon beurre sur baguette, which is basically a ham sandwich. But that was much better than the daily special. Rabbit with Dijon mustard. I kid you not, boiled rabbit, ears and all. My parents tried to convince us that it would get better, and it was only the first day. But by the way, day 2, the menu was duck, feet and all. It's definitely not the same canteen like the one we have at Appleby. They made one meal, no substitutions. They even had staff come inspect to make sure you ate at least half your meal. I soon learned the ways how people would play with their food to make it look like they ate some. I decided Appleby cuisine is so much better. Now, on the second day, it was recess, what the kids in France call le goûter, which translates to snack. I felt left out when I didn't have one. For some reason, my eyes were drawn to this strange-looking girl singing to herself, skipping around a linden tree. I'll never forget how it was Lily who offered me half of her Bueno bar. Ironically, it was Lily who became my best friend over the years, and I'm glad we still keep in close contact. Turns out, not just the newbies were looking for friends, but those locals were looking too. It's that empathy at work again, feeling with the heart of another. Don't assume you're the only one looking to make friends. I was very shy and never wanted to speak in class. Everything was in French. Learning about Napoleon, long division was taught differently, and the cursive writing was different too. P, L's, and T's were written differently. Even some teachers couldn't read my homework. And la poésie forced memorization of lengthy poems to be recited in front of the whole class. And everyone laughed at my accent. Everyone. But I persevered. I knew there would be light at the end of the tunnel. When I returned to Canada 4 years later, the tables were turned, and I became the best in my class at Pine Grove, from worst to best. Moral of this story, hang in there if English is not your first language. The rewards will come later in life. And for those fashionistas out there, don't worry about not blending in. I had a new pair of brown Uggs, well, new to North America. Anyways, some kid came up to me and said, "Tes bottes sont moches," meaning your boots are ugly. I was crushed, but too timid to say anything back. My point is, wear whatever you want to wear, and don't be intimidated about it. Fashion is always different around the world, and you will always encounter people who don't get your style, so don't sweat it. Another story that comes to mind was my class trip into la grande forêt de Fontainebleau. Parents were allowed on the hike, and knowing my mom, she was keen to join the trip. I made the mistake of telling her that I found the coolest acorn ever, but this kid in my class ripped it out of my hand and wouldn't give it back. My mom insisted I use my beginner French to demand it back. C'est moi, which translates to, it's me, I stupidly declared. Seems I shouldn't have trusted my mom with her French either. The kid laughed at me again. I should have said, c'est la mienne, or it's mine. Instead of standing up to the bully, looks like I was going to be the victim again. Now, how does this relate to empathy? Well, it doesn't really. Just wanted to let you know, fight for what you believe is yours with whatever limited language skills you have. By the way, I did get that stupid acorn back eventually. My last story is about la grenouille, better known as the breaststroke in swimming. Every Thursday, our class would walk to the swimming pool from gym class. The first day, they took an individual swim test in front of everyone to determine our skill level. When they asked me to perform la grenouille, I pulled over to the side of the pool. Quoi? What do you want me to do? They got short-tempered with me and told me to get out of the pool and sit back down. I was so embarrassed. After the turn of events, I was assigned to the lowest level in spite of my high swimming skills. When I finally figured out what la grenouille meant, I asked the instructor for a retest. I proved the original assessment wrong and was put to a higher level. Then one day, the owner of the club asked me if I was on a competitive swimming team in the area. As I got my friend to translate what he said, he then asked me if I was interested in joining the private competitive team of Fontainebleau. A few weeks later, I was meeting after school for practices and competed in several competitions. I suppose I felt as accomplished as a third grader could be. So don't sell yourself short. Be confident, and hopefully no one will overlook your skills and talents. In conclusion, my message to all of you here today is to have a positive outlook when you're faced with challenges. Whenever you're in a new environment, just laugh off the problems. And try to show a little more empathy to our Appleby visitors. You may find yourself in their boots someday, maybe even sooner than you think. Now please rise to sing hymn 418.
I love you. Oh my god, that was so good.
Draw the circle.